Hey everyone, Gary of the Elysiums here. Welcome back to another album ranking video. Today we're going to be ranking the studio discography of Blue Oyster Cult. Now before we get in this video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, like this video, share this video if you'd like. Help support my channel, I'd greatly appreciate it, and give me motivation to make more videos such as this one. Okay, so we're going to be ranking only the studio discography of Blue Oyster Cult. So that does not include any of the re-recorded albums they did, where they re-recorded the songs. None of the live albums, which are amazing. No compilations, and nothing from like the Bad Channel soundtrack. So, Blue Oyster Cult started actually in 1967 out of Long Island, New York. They came to success in the mid-70s. In the 70s, they were known as a heavy metal band. Now we see them as just a hard rock band. If you're not familiar with the band, you're obviously familiar with probably 2, 3, 4 of their songs being played on the radio. But Blue Oyster Cult is so much more. They were once billed as America's Black Sabbath, believe it or not. They were not as heavy as Black Sabbath, but they had occult themes. They had, heavier guitars, and they also used some psychedelia, which obviously Black Sabbath did the same exact thing. So I feel like that was the reason they were called America's answer to Black Sabbath. So altogether, Blue Oyster Cult has released 13 studio albums, and 14. 14 studio albums. Like I said, there is the Bad Channel soundtrack, which I have up there. There's a lot of live stuff, and then the last album they put out in 2024. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Ghost something, but it's basically just a compilation of demos and unreleased songs that they recorded. So it's technically not a studio album. But anyway, let's get right into it. At number 14, it is The Revolution by Night. I hate that the CD version does this yellow around here with this collector's choice. I wish we could just see the actual album cover on the front here. And as far as I know, this is the only way to get it. I'm sure there's probably a remaster somewhere, but this is so far the only way to get it. Produced by Bruce Fairbairn. This was a 1983 release. In my opinion, you started seeing the decline of the band. Obviously, he's a great producer, but at this point, they were trying to fit in with the 80s. They had to follow up an amazing album, and this one just really didn't catch on for me. Take Me Away, which opens it. You have Eyes on Fire, Shadow of California, Dragon Lady, Light Years of Love. Not something I reach for all the time. And come at number 13, awesome cover, I think. Some people might think it's corny, but I think it's a cool cover. Heaven Forbid. You got that monster cover there. Just looking at this, you could tell it's probably a metal album or a heavier album. Maybe a play off Phantom of the Opera. This is a 1998 release. This came out, I think probably it was over like 10 years, I think. 10 years between studio albums. So this was their first album in 10 years. And it just fell short. It is heavy, but it doesn't sound like Blue Oyster Cult. It's very underwhelming. See You in Black. Harvest Moon, probably the greatest song off of this. X-Ray Eyes, Damaged, Live For Me, Still Burning. It just falls short. Blue Oyster Cult in 98 just didn't really hit. The music landscape had changed so much. And, the guys, like I said, the guy's been away from the studio for 10 years between albums. And even though they played live, they just didn't really capture the fire they once had. All right, come at number 12. Just kind of similar to Heaven Forbid. This is Curse at a Hidden Mirror. I'm going to scrap the name for a second. This was released in 2001. Produced by the guys themselves, Buck Darmott and Eric Bloom. Not a bad album. The cover is kind of, I don't know, doesn't really sell it for me. If I saw this in the stores, I would be like, I'll pass on that. But at this time in 2001, you're at the height of nu metal. The music landscape has really changed. Again, this is a heavier output, tighter songwriting, heaven forbid, but it just kind of fell short for me. There are some decent, some decent tracks on here, like The Old God's Return. It's probably my favorite off of this. One Step Ahead of the Devil. I Just Like to Be Bad. Out of the Darkness. Stone of Love. Eye of the Hurricane. But I just feel like the fans that Blue Oyster Cult had, the guys that and girls that grew up listening to Blue Oyster Cult, they kind of moved on. The band took too long to keep releasing albums, and as a follow-up to Heaven Forbid, I don't think too many people were pumped about this. Like I said before, this was the height of nu metal in heavy music. We have death metal starting to get a little resurgence again, thrash metal coming back around. Blue Oyster Cult that really have a place. All right, coming up next in at number 11 from 1985, Club Ninja. Now, a lot of people rank this as Blue Oyster Cult's worst album, but I do enjoy listening to this album. White Flags, Dance in the Ruins, Make Rock Not War, Perfect Water, When the War Comes, Shadow Warrior. To me, it's a nice, just an 80s hard rock album. It definitely has that 80s feel to it. The cover is really cool, in my opinion. I love the different colors they use. This is a remaster on the Lemon Recordings label. And it's the regular CD there. Yeah, I like this album a lot. I'm not really sure why people rank it their last. I guess because it's more of like kind of an 80s pop. But it kind of reminds me of... I don't want to say 80s hair metal, but more of like, when I say 80s hair metal, something closer to like Bon Jovi metal, or obviously heavier and a little darker themed. But that type of 80s metal, it kind of reminds me of a little bit. Really, really decent album. I like listening to this a lot. All right, coming number 10 from 1979. This is Mirrors. Again, we got that horrible album cover there. The original album cover is not bad. I think it's cool. But to have that CD here, the CD, collector's choice, border around it is just horrible. 9 tracks on this altogether. 1979, the band is getting ready to embrace a new decade. Leaving the 70s, the decade that really made them. Overall, decent album. In my opinion, we could have did without the cover of Lonely Teardrops, the Jackie Wilson song. But Dr. Music, The Great Sun Jester, Mirrors, the title track itself, Moon Crazy, The Vigil, some good rockin' out songs on this one. All right, and we are now coming in at number 9, the follow-up to Mirrors, Cultosaurus Erectus. I feel like they definitely did better than Mirrors, in my opinion. They embraced a kind of a different sound a little bit. Also, this is produced by Martin Birch, but this was produced by Tom Werman, so still a great producer. But Martin Birch was just amazing. Cool album cover. It's kind of like an alien T-Rex, dinosaur, lizard thing over some snowy mountains. Black Blade, Monsters, great songs off of this. The Marshall Plan, Fallen Angel, Unknown Tongue. Decent album. I do like this a lot. It showed me the direction they were going to go with the follow-up album to this. All right, now we are in at number 8. This is Imaginos. I always think I'm saying it wrong. I believe it's Imaginos. You can see my reflection there. So, with this album, it was released in 1988. There is a couple tracks on here that were... this is, I believe, like their physical graffiti almost. So, these are tracks that were recorded throughout the 80s. Never really released on an album until this, but it was recorded. They were all recorded songs, just unreleased until this album. Am I the One You Warned Me Of is Lace Invisibles, decent song. The Siege and Investiture of Baron von Frankenstein's Curse at Wasseria is cool. There's reworking of Astronomy on here. Then you have Blue Oyster Cult, the song itself, which is really good. And then the title track, which ends it, is also a decent song. This is a remaster. Real Gone Music in cooperation with Columbia, but cool that they included the original back cover there. Decent album, but then again, like I said, that I feel like at this time the band didn't really have a lot of fans, and they weren't gaining new fans, so they took that 10-year hiatus between this and Heaven Forbid. Coming number 7, surprisingly, The Symbol Remains. So this was their last studio album. This came out in 2020. So 19 years between studio albums, the longest they've had. And this album rocks hard. When they were coming out with a new album, I was excited to hear a new Blue Oyster Cult album, but I didn't really expect a lot. I thought it was going to be good, but I think it was going to be this good. Produced by Eric Bloom and Buck Dharma, excuse me. They're definitely working together. They're much tighter. Their songwriting's really tight on this. Very, very strong album. And, if this is their last studio album of all new material, then what a way to go out. That Was Me, which opens in it, Box in My Head, Edge of the World, a great song, Tainted Blood, Stand and Fight, The Alchemist, There's a Crime, Fight, really strong album, cool album cover. I don't know what it is, looks like Stonehenge or kind of the Roman Colosseum with their symbol coming down from the heavens. It looks like the symbol remains, meaning that, the band is still here. The band didn't go anywhere. They're legends. They're still around. All right, coming in at number 6, probably my favorite album of the 80s that the Blue Oyster Cult would release. Fire of Unknown Origin featured the huge hit single, Burning For You. And, no matter how many times I hear it, I still love it. Such a good song. Cool album cover there. As you can, rework the occult themes there. The title track, which opens it, Veteran of the Psychic Wars, another awesome song. Heavy Metal, The Black and Silver, great song. Joan Crawford, Don't Turn Your Back. Released in 1981. Unfortunately, the follow-up, which was this album here, Revolution by Night, was not as strong as this. So the band definitely fell off of this. But to me, I feel like this is the band's last, really, really huge peak. And they obviously have not done anything as great as this. This was really good, but this album is amazing. Burner For You, again, was on MTV also. A lot of MTV play back in the day. That video was always on. Cool video. If you haven't seen it, check it out here on YouTube. And now we're down to the top 5. Coming number 5, Spectres. Another really strong album. Features the hit song Godzilla, which opens it. Cool guitar riff. Are You Ready to Rock's an awesome song. Nosferatu, I Love the Night. Searching for Celine. Celestial the Queen. So then, as you see on the cover there, we have more of the, the occult themes on this. And, just the heavy rockin' Blue Oyster Cult that we love. There's the inside there. So this remastered edition on Columbia and Legacy Records actually features a previously unreleased song called Dial M for Murder, just like the horror movie, and 3 more other previously unreleased tracks, such as Night Flyer, Please Hold, and Be My Baby. Really cool cover there. Really strong album, released in 1977. All right, now we're down to the top 4. Coming at number 4, Agents of Fortune. I believe this is their biggest selling album, and for good reason. It features their biggest hit single and one of the biggest songs of all time, especially on classic rock radio. Don't Fear the Reaper. Everyone knows Don't Fear the Reaper. For us guitarists, it's one of that intro is one of the first songs we learn. This Ain't the Summer of Love, which opens is great, to True Confessions, and then Don't Fear the Reaper comes in. Extraterrestrial Intelligence, The Revenge of Vera Gemini, Sinful Love, Tattoo Vampire, Morning Final, Tenderloin, Debbie Denise. So this remastered edition also features an original version of Fire of Unknown Origin, a demo of Sally, demo of Don't Fear the Reaper, and a demo of Dance the Night Away. Yeah, this came out in '76, and what a huge album for the band. There's the inside there, and as you can see on the cover, it's kind of a magician. I think I just scrambled musician and magician in one. A magician holding some tarot cards there, which adds to some of that occult theme that Blue Oyster Cult would interpretate throughout their entire career. Album number 3 is the debut album, just self-titled, Blue Oyster Cult, released in 1972. Really cool album, because this established a new sound. It was, kind of like, I don't want to say garage rock, but kind of them underground bands, hard rock bands of the 70s, like Dust and Cactus. They incorporated some of that, even Blood Rock, but they had more of a pop appeal, in my opinion. And when I say pop appeal, I mean more of a appeal to, sell to fans. They had the imagery, they had the symbol. So when this first came out, I feel like you could tell that this band was going to be different. Transmaniacon MC, which opens it. I'm on the Lamb, but I ain't no sheep. Weird name, but great song. Then came Last Days of May, Stairway to the Stars, Before the Kiss, a red cap, Screams, She's as Beautiful as a Foot. What does that mean? Another weird title, but awesome song. Cities on Flame with Rock and Roll was probably their first single. Minor hit single, but awesome song. Workshop of the Telescopes and Redeemed. This also has some demo tracks on it. It's a cool debut album, but not the Blue Oyster Cult we would know when we get to like Agents of Fortune. However, this did open a trilogy, a really cool trilogy, and my favorite, and probably most of our favorite, most BOC fans' favorite era of the band. And coming at number 2 is the Sophomore album, Tyranny and Mutation. Again, you got that cool cover there, added to that black and white theme that the debut ended. And this definitely got harder. There was more occult on here, got heavier. This was the album when the magazines were saying they were the American Black Sabbath. You have tracks like The Red and Black, OD'd on Life Itself, Hot Roused to Hell, 7 Screaming Dizbusters, Baby Ice Dog, Wings Watered Down, Teed Archer, and then Mistress of the Sound Salt, which ends it. It was an awesome track. You can see the guys on there. Definitely tell they're, just by seeing them guys, that they're a hard rock band. And again, this type of music was still new. This came out in, was it 73? Yeah, 1973. What a year for music. We have Sabbath, dropping Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. We have Alice Cooper doing $1 Billion Babies. Aerosmith's debut would come out that year. So some new hard rocking and, heavy metal albums coming out of 1973. Really strong album and a great follow-up to the debut. And then coming in at number 1, their third album, my favorite Blue Oyster Cult album. I love this album. I can listen to it anytime. It never gets old. It's Secret Treaties. Such an awesome album. So this basically completes the opening trilogy of the Blue Oyster Cult debut. They call it their black and white period just because of the colors of the album covers. But Career of Evil, which opens it, was a hit song for the band. Didn't get a lot of radio play, but it's still featured on all those greatest hits compilations. Subhuman, Dominance of Submission, ME 262, KG Cretans, Harvester of Eyes, and then to end it, Flaming Telepaths into Astronomy. Astronomy is it's probably my favorite Blue Oyster Cult song. I really do love Burning for You and Don't Fear the Reaper. No matter how many times you hear it, you got to say it's one of their best songs, if not their best song. But Astronomy, you know, Flaming Telepath into Astronomy is so, so good. You have to listen to this album in full to really get it, especially side 2. You know, obviously with the CD, there is no side 2, but when it came out, there was a side 2. Oh man, great song. Astronomy, a huge influence on so many bands, so many hard rock and heavy metal bands. Metallica did a cover of themselves on the Garage Inc. CD that appears. Whew. I'm putting this on right after this video. This is going on. Just from looking at it and holding it in my hand, I just gotta say, such a cool album. And then here is that trilogy, the top 3 for me. And most Blue Oyster Cult fans will agree that that's their greatest period. All right, everyone. I'm going to thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you liked my ranking of Blue Oyster Cult's discography. For those of you unfamiliar with the band, definitely go and try out their first 3 albums. You know, even if you only know Don't Fear the Reaper and Burning for You, they're huge songs. Go try the first 3 albums. I mean, Secret Treaty, throw this on. You would not be disappointed. And you could actually get a lot of their albums, especially their 70s output, on Amazon for fairly cheap. Last time I looked, I haven't looked in a while, but last time I looked, they were like less than $10. So definitely check that out. I don't know if Amazon still does them cheap prices on CDs like that. I haven't bought from there in a long time, but hopefully they do. But yeah, drop in the comments your ranking and let me know what you think. And I'm sure I'm going to get some hate for Club Ninja. But if you like it, you love it, let me hear the love for Club Ninja. Thanks, everyone. See you in the next video.